Hi guys, today I will be showing you how to make this chili pepper, and the strawberry and the cherry are the same design, so I'm going to talk to you through how to make these two if you want to make them on this tutorial, and I'll tell you where to stop. For the cherry, depending on how long you want the stem to be, only one side, you'll need about 43 rubber bands. The strawberry you'll need 52, and the chili pepper you'll need about 58 rubber bands, give or take. So let's get started, and you can also make this on the monster tail if you want. I'm going to make the stem for the cherry to show you how I made it so that way it connects like there in the end, and you can do it however you want, and you can make this end, the cap band, brown if you want. So taking a single band, twist, double, and you can make it however long you want. Single, twist, double, and I'm coming down 8 times, single, twist, double, and we'll do that down the center of our loom also for our 2 branches, or the 2 stem for our cherry. Single, twist, double, and if it's too tight for you, you can use 2 single bands, but it might be thicker. If you use a single, it'll be too loose, I think. So just come down. I'll just come down a few just to show you how I connect it. Single, twist, double, and when you get to your desired length, you're going to take a single, twist, double, crossing it over, and then take your cap band, whatever color you want. If you want brown, you can use that, and I'm going to loop it 4 times on that peg, and that connects it. Now we're going to go under the cap band, grab the top 2 single, and loop up and onto itself, and just continue all the way to the very first peg. Repeat for the other stem. So our stem is done, and if you're doing the strawberry or the chili pepper, you're just going to do one side and not have a connector stem like this cherry. If you're making the cherry, you'll need 6 single red bands, and if you're making the strawberry or the chili pepper, you're going to need 6 single green bands. So with the cherry, I'm taking my 6 single red bands and put my hook through the 2 loops on the end peg, or the first peg, grabbing the loops, the 6 loops, pulling it through, and then putting both sides onto my hook like that. You'll do the same for the strawberry or the chili pepper, and then just pull it off the loom. And for the other side of the cherry, if you're making 2 cherries, then do the same thing. Take 6 single red rubber bands, grabbing it, putting both loops on your hook, and taking it off the loom. So there are your cherry, the start of them. And I made the head of the strawberry or the chili pepper. So now what you want to do is put your hook through the loops, getting all 6 loops onto your hook on one side, and flip it over and getting the other set of 6 loops onto your hook. So you have 12 loops now on your hook, and we're going to attach it to the 6 pegs right now on our loom. So go to your hook, grabbing the 2 bands, the 2 loops, and we're putting 2 loops per peg. So go around the top 3 pegs, and putting the 2 loops on those 3 pegs like that. And we want to twist it in the center, so we twisted a whole hook. And now let's put the other 6 loops on these 3 pegs. So very carefully taking it off the hook, 2 loops at a time, and attaching it to those other 3 pegs. And we want to see that the rubber bands kind of cross. If you see this one attached to this peg, then you want to move it so it kind of crosses in the center. Now we're going to expand it to 8 pegs. So we're taking the loops off of the center 3rd peg, the 2 loops, and pulling it across to the center 4th peg. And we'll take a band off the 2nd peg. So just go to the 2nd peg on either side, grab a single band off, and loop it onto the 3rd peg on the side. Repeat for this side, same thing, take a single band off and looping it to the 3rd peg on the other side. So now you've covered 8 pegs. The 2nd and the 3rd on both sides have a single band, and these 3 have 2 bands on them. So this is the top of my strawberry or chili pepper, and your cherry should have red bands for these ones, and your stem should be pushed down towards the bottom of the loom. For row number 2, we'll do red, and you can do whatever color you want for your chili pepper. So taking your single band and covering all 8 pegs, and do this also for your cherry or strawberry. Mine will be red. We covered all 8 pegs. Go under, grab the bottom 2 bands. This is for the 1st peg. For the 2nd and 3rd on both sides, there'll be only 1 single band. Loop those over. And we're going to go around all 8 pegs. Single band here, here, and double bands on these. Push them down. This is row number 2. Row number 3, we're going to repeat the same, taking a single band and looping it around the 8 pegs. And we're going to repeat this for row 3 and 4. Go under, grab the bottom 2 bands, and loop up and over to the center. Once again, repeat this for this row number 3 and then row number 4. I'm going to fast forward. So that was row number 4. Push all your bands down. For row number 5, we're going to reduce to 6 pegs. So we want to move a single band off of the 2nd peg, and you want to move the one that is attached to the 3rd peg. So take a band from the 2nd peg and see where it's attached to. This one is attached to this one, so I'm going to set it in the center to hold, and taking this band which is attached to this one and stretch it and loop it onto the 1st side peg, and take this one back and loop it onto the 2nd peg, and then we'll move these 2 loops off of the 3rd peg and putting it onto, or attaching it to the 2nd peg. And now the 2nd peg has 3 loops, and the 1st side peg has 3 loops also. And let's repeat for the other side. Same thing, pull a single band off of the second peg, and I see this one is attached to this one, so I'm setting it aside. Then this loop is attached to this one, so I'm going to pull it and loop it onto the first peg, reattach that loop onto the second peg, and then moving these two off of the third peg and putting it on the second peg. And once again, the first peg has 3 loops, the second peg has 3 loops, and now we want to move this center peg, the fourth, and move it and attaching it onto the third center peg. So push all your bands up off of the third peg and then attaching the 2 loops onto the center third peg. Now we're down to 6 pegs and we're on row number 5. So row number 5, taking a single band and looping it around the 6 pegs, creating a hexagon. And if you're making a cherry, this is your last row. You're going to go under, grab the loops, and the first and second on both sides will have 3 loops, and pull it up and over to the center. And you should only have 2 loops left on each peg. So if you're doing a cherry, you're done. Just get your hook and pull the loops going clockwise around and getting all the loops onto your hook. Stuff your cherry and tie it off with a single band. So we're continuing for our strawberry. The strawberry is next. So that was row number 5. Row number 6, we're repeating the same thing. Taking a single band and covering 6 pegs, creating a hexagon. Again, we're on to our strawberry and our chili pepper. Looping the bottom 2 bands up and over. Push it down. And that's row number 6. And now we're going to reduce to 4 pegs. So I'm taking a single band off of the first center peg, and I see it's attached to here, and that's the one I want. And I'm taking it across to the left first peg. I want to move these 2 bands now to the center first. So I'm moving the 2 bands off of the right first peg onto the center first peg. So now the center first peg has 3 loops and the first left peg has 3 loops. I need to move these 2 bands to here, but first I need to move a band that's connected to here to the first left peg. So I'm taking a loop off of the second peg on the side, and it's connected to this one, so I don't want that one. I'm going to put it in the center to hold right now, and this one is attached to this center peg, so I'm moving it to the side first peg, and this side first peg now has 4 loops. And let's move this band back onto the left second peg. Push it down, and let's move these 2 bands onto the left second peg. So that has 3 bands. So that has 3 loops, 4 loops, and 3 loops. And lastly, we want to move these 2 loops onto the center second peg. So pulling it off of my loom, getting it onto my hook, And let's pull these bands off of the center second peg, exposing it, and then attaching these two loops onto that center second peg. And we can pull our strawberry or our chili pepper to the side so there's room to work with. Push it down. Now row number 7, we're taking 4 single bands and covering the 4 pegs. And if you're doing a strawberry, this is your last row. So you're taking the bottom 4 bands off of this first left peg and looping up and over, leaving only 2 loops on this peg. And you're going to repeat for the other 4 pegs, only leaving 2 loops per peg. Push it down, and if you're doing the strawberry, you are done. Just go into each peg, grabbing the 2 loops and going clockwise and getting the loops onto your hook. Stuff it and tying it off with a single band, with a slip knot band. So that's row number 7 for our strawberry. If you're doing a strawberry, you're done. You're doing a chili pepper for row number 8. We're taking 4 single bands and looping it around the 4 pegs. Again, we're on to our last one, our chili pepper, row number 8, taking 4 single bands, covering 4 pegs, looping the bottom 2 bands up and over. Push it down. And if you're doing this on the monster tail, you can go ahead and stuff your chili pepper now before you close it up. This is row number 9. We're going to close it up, taking a single band, twist, double it, and looping it on any 2 pegs. I'm doing it from the first center to the second center peg. Again, single, twist, double it. From the left first to the left second peg, and then looping the bottom 2 bands up and over onto the single we doubled. And let's get it off the loom to stuff it. So getting all the loops, going clockwise, getting the 2 loops onto our hook. That's our chili pepper, and you can stuff it with whatever you want. I have some old bands I don't want to use, so split out your loops, get your bands, and pushing it right in the center. Stuff it however much you want. And let's tie it off, taking a single band and pulling all those loops onto the single band. There should be 4 sets of 2 loops. Getting it on our hook and tying a slip knot. Bottom of our chili pepper. Stuff in any extra bands that are sticking out. Stretch it out. And you can squish it at the top if you want to make it a little fatter at the top. But that's your chili pepper, and the same thing with the strawberry. You can just squish the top up to make it a little poofier at the top. Or your cherry, make sure you squish it down so it's round. So there are your chili pepper, strawberry, or cherry if you made it. I hope you like them. Thanks for watching.